Hello everyone, I'm Alan, also known as McLaren 2009, and today I'm playing Derail Valley. Picking up where I left off yesterday, and I'm currently at the machine factory, and as of right now, the plan is we're going to go over here to the military base, load up some ammunition, then we're going to pull that out, and then we're going to hook up to these excavators, the shipping containers next to them, and this section of box cars and flat cars. And that's just what we're going to work on today. The plan is to get these box cars filled with ammunition, take them to the military base. The excavators are going to the coal mine, and then the intermodal containers and the boxcar and flat cars are going to the food factory. So instead of going south out of here, we're going to go north out and go around that way. So let's get started by turning this on. Alright. Turn that on. Let's go over here. Turn on this. And let's see what condition it's in right now. Okay, it's front to back. It won't be like that in probably like 5 minutes tops. Alright, let's put that down because we're not going to need it. Or we are going to need it, just not right now. Alright, turn on the engine. And then I forgot to pair it with this locomotive. Okay. So we gotta go forward. Release that. And I think the switch I need is on this side. Yeah, it's right here. Okay, so past this switch right here. Back up over this way, take that switch to back up into the military base, then we'll get hooked up to the ammunition cars. Then we might get a time bonus for the loading job. But don't hold your breath on that. More than likely it's not going to get a time bonus. Alright, keep an eye on that. Stream's still working like it's supposed to. Hit the horn. But we got to be a little bit careful right here because as you can see, that's going downhill. So we got to set the brake and not release it until we apply the throttle going backwards. Otherwise, we're going downhill. Alright, hit the switch. Okay. Now, I think I should have this switch set already, but the verdict's still out on that. Hardly do anything the smart way in this game. in spite of the fact that I take playing it quite serious, almost as if I was doing it in real life. But the good news is, this time around, we don't have to worry about turning around and going back out. Or we don't have to turn around and go out that way. Instead, we're just going to keep facing this way, because everything's going out the north end of town. Now, the reason that we chose to do this route instead of the normal thing, which is just take any job going back to the harbor, is because those excavators going over to the coal mine is the only thing that is paying coming out of here. The ammunition, after it's loaded, will pay pretty good, but the actual loading job itself is not. Like, this is something like $9,000 to load up these with ammunition. It'll pay a little bit better to get it out to the military base, but starting out right now, this will not be a well-paying job. But we get back in here, get hooked up to these. Now you're probably thinking this isn't a very good use of DE6s, and you're absolutely right. But it is what it is. Alright. Let's go in here. Back to the front. That, turn that on. Alright, let's go to the back of this and check to make sure we've got air. And we do. Okay, so now that is all set. That's inbound. So more than likely we're going to the outbound. Alright, so let's pick up the only job that's available here. Like I said, $9 grand. Not worth much of anything. I'm thinking it's going to be like closer to 30 or 40,000 for the actual freight delivery. Yep. Alright, we gotta be past this switch right here. And it is 5 boxcars, so it's not exactly light. Boxcars in this game are pretty heavy. See, just an empty boxcar is 20,000 kilograms by itself. So that's 10 metric tons. Alright. now we gotta be over here. Because we gotta wait for the last car to get to this sign. And then we gotta put this over to there. Don't just bounce in front of moving cars like that. That's a good way to get killed. If the player character wasn't like a nigh immortal demigod. But considering that's the case, I'm not worried about it. You can literally get run over and all you'll do is somehow stop the train, even though that's physically impossible. Alright, we just gotta cram this last car through here, and all is right in the world. Okay. Okay. And just for the sake of argument, yeah, that's 31,000 kilograms of ammunition, which makes these significantly heavier than the excavators. Which is really, really weird to me, considering those are good-sized excavators. It's so weird to me that they would be so light. Because the flat car itself is like 11,000 kilograms. But then the excavators are like 12,000 kilograms. So they like barely weigh more than the car. And it's just like, what? In what world does that make sense? Like, those aren't the little ones. Alright, well, pretty much this is the only one that we can even hope of getting a time bonus. Because guaranteed getting hooked up to the other ones, it's not happening. But the good news is, this is really easy to just bounce between one and the other. But with that in mind, let's see. You look back at the beginning. Yeah, time bonus was 8 minutes. We're going to be cutting it close. And since I'm doing it like slow and methodically, with my luck, we're gonna cross the finish line at like 10 minutes and just barely miss it. Oh, there's the sign. Oh, just barely. Oh, go in. Time is money. Oh, perfect. So instead of 9,000, we made 13,000. Sweet. Oh, I was just doing like a rough ballpark estimate. 40,000. So yeah, 39,000. Not bad at all. And this is 255 tons. All right. All right. So next in our list is the excavators. So we got to go back out the way we came in. And actually it makes sense to leave it lined up with that because we don't generally bring anything to the military base here. We usually take things out. So it makes sense to leave that lined up with the outbound track. I never even noticed that before. The speed limit sign is literally on the track. That's wonderful. Alright, let's see if we got this thing aligned with the through track. We do not have this aligned with the C track. Alright. We gotta go way over to my train. Alright, now it's going to be a problem when we get over here. Because now we actually have some weight we have to deal with. Alright, real quick. Check to see what's going on with the stream. Now we've got a couple extra tons behind us, so this hill right here is going to be a slightly bigger problem. It would be kind of cool if, like, the 076 appeared up on the number board, but that's such a trivial thing that I highly doubt anybody but me is thinking about it. what'll be kind of interesting is when the simulator update comes out, you have the brake wheels modeled on the boxcars, tanker cars, and maybe the gondolas. But for ease of use for people like me that are playing in VR, they're going to put the handbrake wheels on the sides. So they'll have to take those off, in theory. Alright. Now let's go over here and see if we've got this aligned into... Well, it's all going into the B track. So yeah, that's going left. Let's dial it back a little bit. Yep. It would be also kind of cool if things like this at like any of the military bases, specifically at like the vehicle and personnel entrances, if there was like a gate and like a guard shack, just so that it feels like you're going into a military base. A place where somebody would be like checking IDs and things like that. But that's probably just my experience with US military installations in real life. Yeah, one of these switches causes me lots of grief. And I don't want to blow up a train full of ammunition. Nope. You can do it, little buddy. Or maybe you can't. Am I gonna have to auto-couple this just because it won't do it? Alright. Now we go all the way to the back. See what I mean? The car is 11,000, the excavator is 12,000, and that is not a little excavator. It's weird. Alright, let's set that like that. And let's go check on this one. Because this is the same 11,000 kilogram flat car, but a 6,000 kilogram empty container. And this is another cool one because this is a refrigerated container. Maybe all three of them are? Oh yeah, all three are reefers. That's pretty cool. Let's see. This is carrying one of the containers. Yeah, they don't have one. They don't have an example of how I've seen the refrigerated containers transported by truck. They're pretty cool when you see them. Alright, I need this. I need this. About 40 grand. And then we need this and this. This is called a freight haul, but they're empty containers. Okay, I haven't been to the food factory for like years now, so I don't know where either of these are. But they're both in the C section, so that'll make it a little bit easier on us. Alright, now the reason that I'm so heavily focused on weight is because I want the heaviest loads closest to the front by the locomotives, and then it'll get progressively lighter and lighter as we go back to the rear end of the train. So we don't inadvertently cause what's called a stringline derailment. Although, truthfully, in Derail Valley, you can cause a stringline derailment with anything, approximately. Like, just the track can cause a stringline derailment. But we want to play it somewhat realistically and kind of like plan out the loads. Like, the first priority for me is getting the weight as close to balanced as I can get it without breaking apart the cuts of cars. And then my second thing that I focus on is if they're all comparable in weight, I'll have it set up in such a way that whatever is getting dropped off first is you have easy access to it. like whatever's getting dumped off first, that's going to be the farthest back. Alright, so we've got to be aligned with this switch right here. Oh, that's going the wrong way. I didn't line up any of these. It'll be kind of cool when these are padded. So that they don't look so weird. But they're saying June for the simulator update. See, that is kind of like cause for concern. The way that the cars are kind of like shaking and going crazy like that. It kind of makes me worry they're gonna randomly explode. Which would be a bit of a problem for this freight delivery. Especially considering how long it has to go. And then horribly mangled cars don't like to stay coupled. So basically it just becomes like this self-fulfilling prophecy where things just escalate and get worse and worse and worse, and then it's just all downhill from there. Basically when one thing breaks, you have like this butterfly effect where everything else breaks. The game's kind of weird like that at times. But go figure, a game called Derail Valley, you have the most fun when you derail and break stuff. Unless you play it like I do and you do it the most boring way possible. And you use it as like a VR training tool to pretend to work on the railroad. Alright, now, if the speedometer is accurate, we're only going to gently love tap this car at 2 kilometers an hour. So all should be right in the world. Alright, put that right there. Yeah, remember what I was saying about being like an immortal borderline demigod? I just got turned into a pancake between these two cars, like some straight up Looney Tunes style accident. And I'm still standing. Alright, we go back here. Alright. Actually, no, we gotta be on this side still. Because we need to flip this switch. No, we don't need to flip that switch. In fact, we don't even need to touch that switch. We need to flip this switch? No, we need that switch. Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually. Now, keep in mind that that sign right there says we can go 50 kilometers an hour through here. But also notice how much my cars are freaking out on this switch right here. So if I was going above like 20, I estimate you would see at least one of these cars fly off the tracks. And it'll be like in the middle of the consist. It won't be one of the ones on the end. It'll be perfectly in the center. The game has some weird, questionable physics at times, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, we don't need to touch that switch. Mostly because if we were going the other way, like we picked up, say, this cut of cars that's going down to the harbor, we would have spun around at the military base, came back down to the turntable, or came back down by the repair track, the roundhouse, and then came in from that end to pull these out. But we're not doing it that way. Because clearly by the lack of things going that way, I've ran this route too many times. So nothing spawned this time around going back to the harbor. It would be kind of cool if the game had like a persistent economy and there was like a supply and a demand like need system for the different locations, so you kind of have a reason to explore the whole map. But I don't think it works like that. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I have no idea. But bottom line is, there was one job that barely paid anything going back to the harbor. So I was like, you know what? Let's go coal mine today. Like, for instance, I brought car haulers back, so it would have been cool if there was a job to load the car haulers, and then if they were hypothetically going to, like, the harbor or something like that, that might have been cool. But I figure, haven't been up to any of the mines in a while, and I literally have not used any part of the northern tracks. Alright, this is 17,000 kilograms, and this is 20,000 kilograms, so yeah, that's like a negligible difference. I don't think that small of a difference will matter a whole lot. All right. Well, for starters, we didn't check the back of the car, but okay. Check your brakes before you start moving. Now, my experience is with trucks, so it's a little bit different. but whenever you hook up to a new trailer, you have to do a pre-trip inspection on that trailer to make sure that it's safe for the road. Because when you go into like a way station or something, they're gonna look at it as you cross the scale. And then if something catches their attention, like something is wrong, they'll call you in, and then they will inspect it. And if they find any problems, you get pulled out of service and potentially fined. Now, it's a little bit different with the railroad as far as I can tell, but they do still have to do inspections on cars, locomotives. Even things like the horn and the bell have to be working. And if it's not working on the locomotive, that one can't be at the front of the consist. It has to be at the back. Or it'd have to be like in the middle. It can't be at the front or the back. And I only know that because I think one day I looked up how do you inspect a locomotive properly. And then it talked about how, or the article that I was reading, it was talking about how you have to make sure that the lights, horn, and bell are working on the leading locomotive. If any of those aren't working, they have to be tagged as not being working, and they can be put into the middle of the locomotives because they can't be used to lead or something of that nature. And it was really interesting to me because I was just curious about it, how my job at the time as a truck driver compared to, say, a train engineer. Basically, I just get randomly curious about a lot of things that don't necessarily affect me, but I still find them interesting. Alright, now the next thing I have to keep an eye out for is I know I've come this way before, but I do not know if the last time I went through Iron Mine West, I don't know if that was before or after I started making sure that I aligned all of the switches to pass through the industry instead of stopping at it. So I don't know if when we get to the iron mine, if the tracks are going to be aligned for the main to pass through, or if it's going to go into one of the sidings. We will wait and see. Alright, let's apply some brakes. We're not really going fast. It's just, you want to be careful. Especially going downhill. Going downhill with tonnage. Makes it more interesting, I guess. And the speed limit's only 50 anyway. So clearly my concerns are somewhat warranted. think this is the warehouse you get the caboose at. Might be remembering that wrong. Now, it is quite a long journey to get to the food factory. So we're probably just getting up there. Maybe. But if we're going downhill like this, maybe it won't be that bad. But looking at the map, I don't know. It's not exactly a topographic map, but it's kind of keeping to what looks like a valley. Alright, let me double check. Alright, it's surviving. And now we're going uphill for this final turn into the iron mine. So we're going to know soon enough if the tracks are aligned to the main or if they're aligned to a siding or storage track. Good sized train, all things considered. Or at least a pretty good size by Derail Valley standards. It's not quite a 100-car train like you might see in real life. Okay, good, we're going through. Now over here on the sides, these gondola cars, those are the kinds of things that I've built in real life. In fact, if we go out here and stand up front, those are pretty much the exact types of cars that I've worked on. Oh, those are quad hoppers. Yeah, quad hoppers. My factory didn't build any quad hoppers, but we did have triple hoppers. I'd imagine at some point they probably built the quad hoppers, but the ones that I directly worked on were triples. The triple hoppers specifically were really cool because that was the first time that I ever worked with stainless steel. I did a little bit of work with galvanized steel when I was in school learning how to weld, but only with those triple hopper cars when I actually welded stainless steel. I had to wear a powered air purifying respirator, welding shield. We had to have fume extractors, air purifiers. We had to have all kinds of stuff to safely work with stainless steel. Specifically with something called hexavalent chromium, or chrome 6. It's kind of a carcinogenic isotope of chromium. That's commonly found in stainless steel. However, kind of a fun fact about that, Chrome-6 is also found in broccoli, but in very minimal doses. You're not going to get heavy metal poisoning from eating broccoli. Unless you have like a straight broccoli diet where you're eating nothing but broccoli all day, every day. In which case, it's kind of like trying to OD on Tylenol. Yes, it's possible, but you're gonna throw up long before it happens. So you're gonna have other problems by eating nothing but broccoli. Long before you get affected by the chromium. Still going a little under 50 on mostly level ground. Alright, let's dial it back a little bit. Alright, and just like that, the speedometer starts to fall a little bit, but slowly, and that's the way that I prefer to do it. You apply just enough throttle to see your speed going up, and then once you've reached your safe, like, cruising speed, you reduce the throttle until you see your speed start to fall. And then you let it fall to the lower end of your safe speed, and you speed back up again. And you generally keep doing it that way to keep your speed under the posted speed limit. So you get the most action points in Train Sim World, and you don't blow up your train in Derail Valley. You have stuff like this, where the speed limit goes to 40, and you gotta dial it back a little bit. Because this would not be a fun place to derail. We're still a long way away from the simulator update, so we'll just walk on water back there, but I would not want to have to go back and forth trying to pick up lost cars that just like flew down this steep hill over here. That just does not seem like it would be a fun time. It would be really cool if, since they're talking about making a red lantern to put on the back of the last car as kind of like an end-of-train device of sorts, it would be really cool if it showed up on the map. Like, right now, the red dot shows where your caboose is located. For me personally, I would make the caboose dot be like green, and then make the red dot your red end of train lantern. At least that's how I would do it. Alright. Yeah, we've got a pretty good-sized train. That would not be fun to fly down. Yeah, at least for me personally, that's how I would do it. Slightly confused by my background music for a second there. It has like a symbol, and I thought it was like something like opening and closing, which isn't possible unless there's like a bug or something. And that would be really, really weird. It is a really cool game world, all things considered. I kind of like the more like sandbox sort of nature of this game, and what I mean by that is, I mean you just have like whatever locomotive or locomotives you're choosing to operate, and you just drive around the map. You go to a station, walk into the station office, see what jobs are available, and you can just like pick and choose what jobs you want to work on. It's kind of like if you were an owner-operator with a truck, and you can more or less pick and choose what cargo you want to carry. Well, instead of being an owner-op with a truck, you're an owner-op with a train. It's such a weird concept that just seems like it would be a terrible idea in real life, but in the game it's kind of cool because you can sort of do whatever you want. Like, I can decide that since I'm kind of attached to my sequentially numbered locomotives of 76 and 77 here, that I'm just not gonna do the shunting jobs, unless I really want to go to wherever the final destination is for like the loading jobs. So I can look at the job booklets on the table in the office and just be like, okay, I'm feeling hazmat today. Let's haul nuclear flasks. And it's just kind of cool how you can do that. Like with Train Sim World, you can sort of do it when you go down the list of like timetable events. But for the most part, you're not really building like a train, you're not really like picking your jobs, you're just doing a pre-made scenario. And it's just cool that this allows you to have more like freedom to do what you want to do. It's kind of like more open-ended, like you can make your own like fun in a manner of speaking. You can do like I do, where you do everything slow, safely, try to not have any accidents, derailments, try not to hit anything too hard. Or you can just go nuts, just do whatever your heart desires and just cause chaos and destruction. Or you can go somewhere in between and maybe cause some chaos every once in a while, maybe play it safe, depending on your mood. And it's just really cool that you have that freedom to be able to just make your own fun. Whatever you want to do to enjoy the game, you're free to do it. And it's just really cool. I guess there's another game that's kinda like that, but it doesn't really have the ability to like walk around and interact with stuff. It's like, I want to say Train Life or something like that. At first glance, it doesn't really seem like my type of thing, but it seems to sort of have that kind of free-form, sort of choose what you want to do attitude about it. Looks interesting, but at the same time, it doesn't really seem like my type of thing. Alright, let's apply some brakes. We're going downhill again. And it's a 50k zone. Yeah, and then that's the straight shot to the food factory from City Southwest. But as you can see, I don't normally go that way. But I also don't intentionally go to the food factory very often. I'm just doing it this time because it's on the way. And I wanted to mix it up a little bit and try doing something I don't normally do. So I was just like, alright, we're gonna run around this north line and head up to the military base that way. Now, when we actually get to the military base part of this trip, it's going to be a little bit interesting because I have to drop off my excavators like right about here so that I can back the ammunition into the military base. And it's been even longer, like probably before the Overhauled update when I last went to the coal mine. So that's going to be interesting, to say the least. But since we're down to a little over half a tank of diesel when we get to the food factory, I'll probably look for the surface track and see if I can refuel my locomotives there. So I might have to leave my ammunition and excavators on like a intermediate track so that I can refuel my locomotives. But we'll figure out what all's going on with that once we get to the food factory. And I guess while we're here, we can find out if there are any refrigerated boxcars like you see in some of the update videos for Simulator on the Discord channel. Basically, there's just a lot of stuff that I'm really excited about with the Simulator update. I'm really hoping that I'll find myself in a position that I can continue to stream it once the update comes out. Oh, I was about to panic for a second there. Because I thought we were aligned into a cut of cars. Alright, I need this, put that, no, I need to put that right there, get out my remote, and let's see. C9S. Of course it is. Alright, this is where my logistics haul has to go. So I need to shove 6 cars in here. But what about these tankers? I'm sure it'll buff out. Alcohol. They didn't specify what kind of alcohol. Alright, there's the station office. Oh, cool. I don't know where the repair track is, though. That might be it there. Nope, this is D. The map says it has a repair center. But where is it? Alright, there's the shop. Do they have a roundhouse? Okay, here's a turntable. Okay, so if it's anywhere... Oh, it's right here. No, it's too deep in. I'll have to do it one at a time. Oh, that's disappointing. Alright, where is... Nope. This one. Well, at least we got some good news. This one's going right here. Alright. This is the farthest border of 9S. So I gotta shove these tanks back to that sign. And they can't really go past that sign, otherwise it's gonna foul the switch. And we don't want to do that. Alright, so... Oh, boxcars. Yeah, refrigerated boxcar. $21,000 kilograms instead of just 20,000. So that's kind of cool. It'll be nice to see them in different colors. And that's one of those things that some people have been pointing out. Okay, we gotta go all the way to the end. And the switch is right here. Yeah, it is going to be a while. And more than likely what I'll do is I'll just take the cheap route and just pay the 30 grand or whatever to refuel the locomotives at the station office. It's more expensive that way, but I've got like 1.7 million. I'm not worried about it. That's going uphill, so we gotta push a little bit harder. And these jobs are worth a disappointing amount of money. But you take what you can get. And we're going to a destination I haven't been to for a long time. I really think it was before Overhauled that I went to the coal mine. So I literally remember nothing about it. Alright, I just gotta get this switch, or this car, past this switch. And it doesn't want to do it. Alright. Now we just ease it back nice and slow. Even though it's a heavy train going downhill, so it's going to speed up and start getting out of hand quick. And the hill must be pretty rough, given how much of a fight it put up just getting past the sign, or past the switch. Alright, let's apply the independent. Just to kind of slow it down slightly. Won't slow it down by much, but it'll do something. Maybe. Drink. Alright. No. It didn't just slow it down, it stopped it completely. It's kind of impressive. Especially since not too long ago somebody was saying that the independent brake is almost useless. It's not, it just has some bugs. Alright, all we gotta do is get these 6 cars past this sign. Alright. Now that actually might be doable. Maybe. Preferably without messing up these tankers or pushing them to the point that they're fouling the switch. That would just be bad. We need it to be going slowish. Alright, it's literally 3 cars left to clear the sign. Alright, let's go over here. No. Alright, somehow it just magically wants to go back up the hill. I can't even pretend to understand this game. Oh, come on, you're doing this to me now. Okay. Never a dull moment. Oh, that's not good. Something broke. Question is, what, though? Alright, that's 100, 100, 100, 100. Hundred. It's just like what happened yesterday, or yesterday. Something broke, came uncoupled, and then it was just downhill. All right. 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, and 100. And good news, we didn't make it to the sign. Those are 2 different jobs, so let's disconnect this one as well. Alright, no, let's get out of there. Now the office is over here. Well, I didn't disconnect the cars that matter. Okay, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay. Let's go turn this job in. No damage. No damage. Okay. So we haven't broken anything yet. Alright, next up, C4. want to be on to 3, 4. Alright, now we get the intermodal cars past this switch, and we're golden. And it's literally just these cars right here. So the job's getting progressively easier. It's just taking a long time. No, don't do this to me now. All you gotta do is just pass the switch. Alright, there's nothing on the inbound track. So we just shove these in there. And we continue on to our next destination. I just don't remember all 3 of them being reefers when I looked at them yesterday. Alright, we are well past the sign. So let's go knock these off. Alright. It only took twice as long as it was supposed to. I don't see what the problem is. The harbor, goods factory. Harbor. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff up here, but not going the way I'm trying to go. Actually, we need to get this switch right here. So that we're back aligned for the through track, which apparently goes by the passenger terminal. I should probably keep this out. we're still only at about half diesel, so it's not the end of the world if we don't fuel up here. We can do it when we get to the military base. So the next thing is going to be this this junction right here. It might be aligned to go right towards the goods factory. It's been a long time since I've last been up here, so I don't really know how everything's set up. Well, the thing that makes this interesting is we've lost all of the, like, light parts of the load, and we've only got the heavy stuff left. What's up there? Oh, that's the, loop. That's if you wanted to go nose first into the coal mine, which we are not doing. We're going to continue past the military base, past this, and then we're going to back up into the coal mine. It's going to be a little bit weird because I think there's a steep hill right there. But we'll figure that out when we get there. Making pretty decent progress, all things considered. And a couple switches put up a little bit of a fight, but it's to be expected at this point. Let me grab this. And then the good news is, once we're past this switch, everything's already aligned to get to the military base. It will potentially cause a problem with the other side of this junction, because normally we come up this way going to the military base, but that switch will automatically flip when we cross it anyway, so it won't matter in the slightest. But unfortunately, we are going to burn through a lot more diesel. But we were going to burn it anyway. Yeah, this switch right here. We can play it safe and prevent anything from happening by just jumping off. This switch. Okay. And just like that, all is right in the world. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Let me do that. Okay. Now we've got that. Click off of that. Alright, what we're doing is I loaded these boxcars with ammunition. They're going to the military base. Picked up these excavators. They're going to the coal mine. And along the way, I did a freight mission, and although the freight mission was technically a logistics mission, and a logistics mission that both dropped off at the food factory. Right now I'm making my way up to the military base. The plan is I'm going to drop my excavators right about there, back the ammunition boxcars into, it's like back the ammunition into the military base, and then pull out of the military base. I'll probably refuel my locomotives when I get there. Pull out, hook up back to the excavators, go back around this corner, and then we're going to go past this switch, and then we're going to back into the coal mine. And the reason we're going to back into the coal mine is so that we can pull out of the coal mine. Although realistically that's going to be a bad idea, because if I pull out, I'm going to be going this way. And more than likely I'm going to be carrying iron going to the steel, or going to be carrying coal going to the steel mill. And well, realistically that'll be another day's problem. 2 hours is generally my magic number for how long I stream. Might go a little bit longer today, but I'm not sure yet. With my locomotive. It is throwing a fit. That is not comforting. Alright. Got to apply some brake. Yeah, more than likely I'm going to get these dropped off, and that's probably where I'm going to call it for this stream. The verdict's still out on whether or not I'm going to do a second one later today. I'm trying to make like a schedule so that anybody who's following my channel has an idea of when I'm going to be streaming, so it's not so like random. But we're not there yet. This part is rough. It gets really bad up here by this like horseshoe type thing. I want to say it goes up to like 3.5% or something like that. It's something crazy. Dial it back a little bit. I think it sort of flattens out for the bridge, but I don't remember that for certain. Oh, no, that's yellow. It does not flatten out. I mean, it sort of shallows out. It's only 0.7%. That's like most of the hills that I've dealt with in Train Sim World. And then it's 1.7. Got the ammunition cars up front, the excavators in the back, and we're just coming around the mountain. So yeah, luckily you can speed up in this area, but the terrain's a little bit dicey. So I still prefer to take it kind of slow. And then those are kind of weird because we're going uphill, yet we've apparently crossed over two, like, valleys, sort of. And then it's like, well, why didn't you just raise the ballast up a little bit and keep it sort of level? said they're fixing the glitches in the switches that causes you to just kind of like stop randomly or even derail, but I think they specifically said they are not doing anything to fix the track or any of like the immediate scenery at like the stations. I don't think any of that is getting fixed for Simulator. Supposedly those things are coming later. It seems like a bulk of Simulator is focusing on the handling of the locomotives, adding 3.5 more locomotives, and just the mechanics associated with the locomotives and the cars. I say 3.5 locomotives because one thing that's on the list is a Slug DE6. And the best I can gather on what that means is a DE6 without a cab. So literally just an engine, and it has to be controlled through like a parasitic connection to an actually controlled locomotive. I've seen pictures of it, or I've seen pictures of what the real ones look like, but I've never actually seen one in real life. Alright. We're getting to the point where I'm gonna have to hop off and back up this ammunition. Okay, but we're going uphill, so we still need to have it. We still need to have some speed applied. Alright, let's slide over here so we don't vibrate off the side of the locomotive. It'll be kind of cool if they put a button on the remote so that you can activate the bell. Or if they'll just have it automatically activated when you hit the horn like it is in Train Sim World. Out here way too soon. Because the actual switch that I need to hop off near is right up around this corner. Literally the other side of that hill. And then I'm pretty sure I aligned the military base to go to the inbound track, but I guess we'll know soon enough. one thing that will be really interesting when the simulator update comes, we won't be able to just, like what I'm about to do, where you just stop the excavators, like right about here-ish. And you can't just, like, leave them unattended. You actually need to secure them with handbrakes. Like, this would be potentially a disaster because I haven't secured these in any way. And we're on a hill. But from me just kind of like messing around, it's kind of hard to kick cars with the way that the air brakes work, at least without using the remote. If I like uncouple using the remote, I can kick the cars. But I haven't had much luck trying to do it by hand. Supposedly there was a way to do it, but I never made heads or tails of it. And this right here is kind of weird because you may notice that there's a bit of a gap underneath the ballast. Alright, so it'll magically start going downhill. Alright, and then we got these just five ammunition boxcars. And we just gotta get them over here. Let's slow it down a little bit, because this hill's a little bit crazy. And you gotta be careful when walking across this bridge, because you can kinda clip into it in some spots, and you gotta like teleport to get yourself out of it. It's kind of weird. Yeah, right there. That might not even be the only place. But this has certainly been an interesting series of deliveries that are a little bit out of what I normally work on. So, wanted to add some variety. Mix in a couple of destinations I haven't been to for a long time. Stuff like that. Alright, now we can ease off the brake. According to the sign, you can go 60 through here, but would you go 60 through here? I barely even want to go 20 through here. But we can go 50. Alright. Hello. Alright, let me jump off here. Definitely broke my ankles in that fall. Alright. B4I. Alright, so what we've got going on right now is had to load these ammunition cars back at the machine factory military base. So we had to load these, then we stayed hooked up to them because they were going from the machine factory out to here to the actual military base. And then while en route, hello? Okay. Yeah, while en route, dropped off a freight mission and a logistics mission going to the food factory, and then we also have a cut of excavators just chilling over there on the mountain that are going to the coal mine. So that's where we're headed next. So this stream's going to be a little bit longer because we're getting all of these turned in. But only a little bit longer. Generally, like 2 hours is like my magic number for how long I like to do this. And yeah, it took like 3 times as long as it was supposed to. So, let's stop right here. Let's go up here, turn this off, set that. You always manage to blow it up? I mean, the stuff I normally bring up here is like nuclear fuel. It doesn't explode, but you add it to an explosion. Yeah, I have like this compulsive need that I do everything very, very slow and painfully. Specifically so I don't blow anything up. So I've made peace with the fact that I'm pretty much never getting a time bonus, or time bonus ever again. At least not until Simulator comes out. When Simulator comes out, then I can get time bonuses again. Because if you put it on the realistic difficulty, they're gonna tell you to, or they're gonna make the time limit more lenient. And I've barely lost money. Okay. We're good. So go back up here, turn this on. Even though it doesn't do anything. Turn these back on. And go back here. Turn on the engine. And then we'll go up here, turn this back on. No, go on. Just a little higher. Ironically, I do pretty much the opposite of that because I'm trying to work for the railroad. I have a pending job offer to become a freight conductor when I was previously a truck driver. And I started going crazy playing Derail Valley and Train Sim World to kind of get a feel for what the job looks like. So I tried to do everything slow and methodically. And I've been lucky, and the only things that have broken on me are because the physics glitched out on me and the track destroyed 2 of my cars. And that was all yesterday. Let me stand up on the... Or just teleport in front of the train. It'll be fine. Alright, can I go up here? Yeah, I want to go up here. Okay. It's a class 1. Alright, let's go up this hill a bit. Basically, I was driving trucks for a little over a year, and then I ended up deciding, what if I went into a different field? So I was like, can I learn how to drive trains in real life? And I found out in the videos I had to watch prior to my interview and I found out that not only can you learn how to drive trains, apparently it's a matter of when. Oh. I might actually be applying to the same one. Luckily, not in the area that I'm applying, but you kind of get some weird looks, given the fact that they're in the news at the moment. I kind of took it as a good sign that with all of the bad things happening, yeah, I kind of heard that much. And I've had people tell me that, yeah, like the schedule sucks, and then I'm like, let me stop you right there. Y'all have off days. I don't have off days driving trucks, and now you're telling me I can work 6 days and then I got 2 days off? Sign me up. And then as a truck driver, I can work for 14 hours a day. Only drive for 11 hours, but you can work for 14. And then when I did the interview with Amtrak to be a passenger conductor, they were like, yeah, you can work for 11 hours and 59 minutes exactly. And more than likely, you will not go over that. And then it's like, all right, cool. so let's apply some brakes. So we don't love tap these excavators a little too hard. But apparently the same 10-hour break between shifts. And then it's like, yeah, you're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I'm cool with that. I got used to a bizarre schedule driving trucks. I'm good. You're gonna call me and no, not what the fuck, no. It's like you're gonna call me and I got 10 hours to get to work, or I got 2 hours to get to work. All right, we're cool. I can deal with that. And then I like the kind of like technical knowledge that you get with like stuff like this, with driving trucks. There's just a lot of stuff that's like really fascinating to me that I really like knowing that sort of stuff. Oh, that's actually awesome. And then like with driving trucks, you've got like 70 hours for an 8-day work week. But if you run out of the 70 hours, you got to do a 34-hour reset. And 34 hours is just like weird because it's 1 day plus a 10-hour break. And it's like the dumbest thing ever. But then you can roll over it. And if you say only do like 10 hours or less a day, on the 8th day, you get your time back at midnight. So basically you can just keep working non-stop and just burn yourself out and work into an early grave. And that just like sucks. I hate doing that. I would love to have like a designated schedule, like, okay, you are on call for these days, so from Monday to Sunday you're on call, and then you're not gonna get called again until maybe Thursday. And then it's like, all right, I'm cool with that. This like working non-stop and like never getting like a break or downtime to yourself, that part sucks. That is why I definitely say that driving a truck is not for everybody. Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. And luckily, since I have a disability check from being in the Marine Corps previously, I'm not like desperately pressed for money. So like even the guaranteed minimum for just being on call, and if nobody calls you, even that should be able to cover my bills. Alright, let me double check. Playlist hasn't gotten screwed up. Yeah, that's always fun. I haven't worked directly for the railroad, but I worked for a company that built their cars. And a bulk of the things that I built were coal cars. Be it the gray, like hybrid Bethgons, I think they were called, or the triple hoppers. I've worked on thousands of cars, and I've never actually worked directly for the railroad. So when we get up here to the coal mine to drop off these excavators, I'll be able to take a look at the game's version of the stuff I worked on in real life. Because I was a welder. Then I joined the Marine Corps and became an electronics technician. Then I got a secondary MOS of being a hazmat supervisor. Then I got out of the military, went back to school. I took a break from school to drive trucks. What is that god-awful sound? Yeah, I took a break from school to drive trucks, and now I'm switching from driving trucks to working for the railroad. Alright, so the game plan is to go past the switch and then back up into the coal mine. But more than likely that's going to go bad because I'm going to have to set myself up because more than likely I'm going to take coal from the coal mine to the steel mill. Because I highly doubt they've got anything going anywhere other than the steel mill. But since I haven't been to the coal mine since I honestly think before the Overhauled update, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what's up there. This out, put this away, and let's get ready to jump off the train. Oh, that's probably the god-awful sound. Okay. There's the switch. So we're just going to get off over here. And we're gonna get backed up into the coal mine. You don't need to be going too fast. Oh yeah, and just like I thought looking at the map, this is the way to go if you want to back in. The Y doesn't go both ways. It's just this one switch. Alright, so coming around the north side of the map is the good way into the military base and into the mine, apparently. Oh, I gotta jump off on this side. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Ease off on the brakes. Okay, apparently I should not have eased off on the brakes. Alright, just one car length past the switch. Okay. Let's slam on the independent, crank up the train brake a little bit. Of course, it's going downhill. Pop it into reverse. Release the train brake, throttle up. Throttle up more than that. And kick off the independent. And let's see if we can shove this monstrosity into the coal mine. Now what I'm thinking is, looking at the map, there appears to be like a loop to run around in the coal mine. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have to go in, turn around so that I'm backing out, and then I will back up down here. Let me just... can I go right there? Yeah, alright. So we go right here. And what I'm thinking is, if I can back up with the coal cars, and then I come around here, and then I go forward, back up this way past the military base, then I won't have to align any switches, and I'll be set to go all the way to the steel mill. Whereas if I do it, if I just come out straight, I have to turn right here, go around this loop, and then go down that way. I mean, I guess really it doesn't matter either way. But let's slow it down a little bit. Alright, apparently I panicked and hit the brakes a little too hard. Haven't been up here for a long time, so I don't know anything about the area. Oh, but we're going uphill. Okay. Okay. Now it's go up like it's supposed to. Okay, always get off on the engineer's side if possible. That is good to know. Yeah, it's never as easy as it looks in the video game. Like, before I got my commercial driver's license, before I even started the class, I should say, I was playing American Truck Sim to kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Watched a couple of videos on how you're supposed to actually back up a trailer. And then I tried doing it in the game, and I was like, wow, it works exactly like they say it's supposed to. And then I got to my class, and it actually started, and I found out that backing up a trailer is not all that hard, but it's definitely something you gotta figure out, because you're tested on it. But when I got to the second half of the course, where I'm driving on the road, I found out that the game does not at all simulate how a truck transmission works. Like, you don't shift at the right RPM, you don't shift properly, like you just don't have to. And then, for lack of a better explanation, it's basically you're driving a car with 18 gears. So if you get out of that thinking you know how to shift a truck, you don't. Basically, the game, it simulates a synchronized transmission, so you can just kind of go into whatever gear you feel like it. Whereas a truck transmission is asynchronous. So you can only go into the gear that's fitting for your current speed and RPM. So then bringing that back to playing these simulator games to kind of get in like the headspace to figure out how the railroad works. I know that it isn't going to look like this. Like, I already know that here in the US, we don't have that coupling mechanism. So it's just little stuff that I know absolutely is going to be different. And then there are other like details that I'm really excited about with the simulator update for this game, because it's going to make things behave a little bit more realistically. And then since I exclusively play it in VR, for all practical purposes, I'm playing in a seated position, so I'm sitting on a desk chair on the back of a flat car. So it's a little bit different. But for all practical purposes, I am on a train car. And it's like the coolest thing ever. And then I know, like, with the brakes and all that fun stuff, like, this isn't exactly how it works. It's going to get closer to that with the major update, but it's not exactly correct. And then you get into the locomotive, you find out that it's not even close to the real one. And it's just little stuff like that. Basically, it's just a really cool game to play, except I probably play it in the most boring way possible. For the most part, I try to play it as if I was actually doing it, because as long as I have my VR headset on, it looks and feels like I am. Yeah, they're a lot more user-friendly. Just from my experience of having to build them. They're just easier to use. Like, you can couple while moving. In fact, that's kind of how you have to do it. This, you pretty much have to come to a complete stop and just hope for the best. It gets really annoying when you're playing with the steam locomotive, because you have to move slow enough that you aren't going to just bounce off of the car. Otherwise, you have to time it perfectly with applying the brake right when you make contact, so you're not too far away to throw the chain over. It's like weird, and you gotta like figure out like this whole convoluted system with how to make it work. It's just crazy. Although it is kind of funny that I actually prefer playing this game over Train Sim World, even though Train Sim World has the real equipment that I might actually see and interact with. It kind of ends up like uh, disappointing me. Huh. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I was talking earlier about how the only way I've been able to kick cars is if I uncouple with the remote. I've seen people do it by hand, but I haven't gotten the hang of it in this game. I think you can technically do it in Train Sim World, but it's not a good idea because if you accidentally love tap the car a little bit too hard, you failed the scenario and you got to start over. Hope you remembered to save. And then in this, the brakes kind of just automatically lock when you release the air, almost as if they had like spring brakes like we have in trucks, but that's just not the case. But until the air gets updated with the simulator update, this is what we got. Lift the lever and slow down and let it fly. What safety? Safety third in the valley. What track is this even going to? B1I. Alright, now, where is B? Why do I have the throttle and the brake applied? Probably because I'm going uphill. Okay, that's A. No. Oh, no. Alright, train's going to the wrong place. Okay, this is C. That's A. Okay, this is B1I. Alright, now can I turn around anywhere? Okay, so A, B, what? No, that's B2. Alright, whatever. Alright, so what do we got over here? We have a bumper. Okay, so this may have been the best option. Yeah, that would make sense. But we also would have, like, the ability to control the locomotives through distributed power. Whereas the closest I've got is this remote. Alright, so I messed up and put this on the wrong track. need to go this way. Alright, I need this switch right here. Although it's looking like this is the best position to get turned around and pull out of here. Bad news is... it's gonna make it interesting when I go for the next job. But realistically, that'll be tomorrow's problem. Or another day's problem. Then I gotta figure out where the station is. Oh, go a little bit farther. You're not there yet. Hello? Huh, thank you for following. Okay. Now, let's reverse, and let's see if we can get this thing parked and put away. Alright, what do we got? Alright, we have a random quad hopper and some flat cars. Yeah, this is the closest to the types of cars that I built, but the ones I worked on were triples, not quads. And they didn't have like the central chute, it was more like a chute on either side of the center sill. And then you would flip a lever on either side to swing the door open and allow the coal to drop out the bottom. So I've worked on things like these, but not these specifically. And then it was always kind of cool at the end of the assembly line before it goes to like final inspection and paint and decal. After you've got all of this stuff built, you would stand up on this platform right here, or there would be a platform right here, and then you would release the handbrake, and then they'd have the like a hydraulic winch on the floor that would be hooked up to the frame, and then they would pull the car into the final inspection position, and whoever was standing there would have to, whoever was closest to it when they go to move the line, you would climb up onto the platform, release the handbrake, and then you would ride the car into the inspection position. And it was like the dumbest thing, but to me that was like the coolest thing ever. Just ride the empty car into the final inspection position. It was one of the things that I really enjoyed about my job. Just climb up on the car, release the brakes, and hold on while the floor winch pulls the car. And then once you get into the next position, spin the wheel and set the brake again. It was like the most trivial thing that was just like a routine part of the job, but it was like the coolest thing ever to me. And it was actually why I was so excited and enthusiastic when I got called for the interview to become a conductor. And I was like, so I know the conductor is the guy who gets out of the locomotive and goes out and like couples the cars. And even in the even in like the promotional video they make you watch, they were like, do you like hanging onto the side of a freight car with a radio? And I was like, yes, I do. Let me sign up for that. Oh yeah, the bad weather thing definitely sucks. I had the pleasure of, while I was a truck driver, I was up in Maine in a blizzard. I had like ice forming on my mirrors as I was driving. So I had to break out all of my thermal reflective clothing. I was walking around the parking lot looking like a walking traffic cone. It was great. And then you find out that they can't use salt because it'll cause problems. So they have to use sand instead of salt. And then they couldn't apply more sand yet because it would cause like more problems with the parking lot. So just had to deal with forcing through the slushy snow to get backed up to the loading dock. It was not a fun time. And like when the ice started forming on the mirror as I was driving, even with the heaters on, I ended up calling my company like, yeah, I'm gonna be late. I gotta shut down. I cannot safely drive right now. It's just stuff like that you don't think about unless you've done it. Is this the office? Oh, it is. Sweet. And almost took 100 minutes longer than it was supposed to. But my growing motto is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Alright, so just like I thought, actually. Alright. Yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do next time. Alright, pretty much the only one that doesn't suck. It's either the steel mill or empty cars going to the harbor. I mean, we can do both. Alright, so if I want to keep it balanced-ish, keep this one up front, this one in the middle, and this one in the back. And then what I could do is go out this way, turn right, go up through this loop, and then make this left, drop the coal off at the steel mill, and then get the flat cars back to the harbor. Yeah, that'll probably be the move for next time. Alright. Let's turn that off, put this away. We'll go over. Already unhooked, I think. And what's it gonna be this time? And it's back to the front. I've already beaten this dead horse to a bloody pulp, but this is truly Schrodinger's coupling mechanism. It is in a bizarre, like, quantum superposition where it is simultaneously coupled from the back to the front and the front to the back, and the only time it changes is when it's observed. Whatever position you put it in, it will not be in that position when you look at it a second time. Like, when I was at the, it's like at the beginning of the stream, it was coupled from the front to the back. And now, before I'm getting ready to call it a day, it's coupled from the back to the front. So, turn this off, turn this off. Turn off the electricity. And let's go up here. And no, let's go in here. This thing. Turn that off, turn that off. Kill the electricity. And then we will clip through reality, go back to the station office, turn around, and then we'll go in here, pay off our environmental fees, because God only knows how much fuel we burned through. Yes, I know, but you don't have diesel service here. So, somehow, in spite of all of the stuff I've dealt with on this stream, I somehow gained profit. I have made money. Somehow. Alright. Well, it's now getting closer to 3 hours, actually. So, as kind of like a recap of all that I've accomplished today, loaded some ammunition cars, picked up excavators, empty intermodal shipping containers, and a logistics load of 2 boxcars and 4 flat cars. Got the ammunition delivered to the military base. Got the excavators delivered here. Dropped off both logistics hauls at the food factory. And now we're all set to pick up coal going to the steel mill. And we'll probably snag these flat cars. These aren't connected, are they? No, of course they're not. We're going to grab these flat cars and take them back to the harbor after we drop off the coal at the steel mill. But, unfortunately, it's never easy. We got to get this out of the way and probably shove it on this. What is this track, by the way? This is... Oh, this is the runaround. It's not a labeled track. Great. Alright, so this is outbound, this is outbound. If this is 3 cars... Okay, so it's these 2 loads right here. Although I will say that even though I'll complain about having to move this hopper out of the way to get to those flat cars, I do actually really like that aspect about this game, and also the switching jobs in Train Sim World. It's kind of like a puzzle. Like, I'm on this track, the thing I need is on that track, but this is currently blocking my path. So how do I have to move around to get it so that the heavy thing is up front, the lighter thing is in the middle, and the empty thing is at the back? And then how do I get it situated so that I can safely go down the rails, not derail anything, and then how can I still have it set up in such a way that I can easily get the things that I'm trying to unload onto the track that they need to be on. And then, even though it's not in the game, if I shove this car on a random track, it won't be there the next time I come up here. But I kind of have like this mental thing where I try to keep in mind that my fictional AI yard workers that don't even exist in the game, if I shove this on like a random track, somebody else is going to have to deal with it. So I would prefer not to shove it onto a track that somebody else is going to have to, or it's going to be blocking somebody from doing a different job. And it's just like really cool to figure out how can I get all of this stuff to move and still do my job safely and efficiently. Like I said earlier, I've made peace with the fact that by doing everything slow and methodically like that, I've guaranteed I'm never getting a time bonus ever again, at least not until the realistic difficulty comes out with the simulator update. But yeah, even though it's a nuisance to have to move this and get it out of the way, it's really cool that the game allows you to do that. Yeah, and it's just like, solve a puzzle. What track do I need to go down to get to where I need to go? And how can I be set up in such a way that I can get to my next destination safely and efficiently? Yeah, it's just like really cool. Can you tell that I have an unhealthy excitement for my possible coming new job? This is like the coolest thing ever to me. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm like obsessively glued to keeping my sequential locomotives, because I had 76 for like ever, and then I pulled back into the harbor, and then 77 spawned, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to keep these connected, so I'm just going to keep using these probably until the simulator update comes out. But at the same time, I'm just like, it might be kind of cool to try and fight with it to use the steamer, even though it's a little bit more involved and a little bit more complex to use. That's a thing for another day. Alright. So, this seems like as good of a place to stop as any. This has been Derail Valley. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully it was nice talking to you. So, have a nice day. Oh yeah, I could do that too. Drag 76 and 77 with the steamer. Yeah, that's definitely an option. Alright, let's call it there.